Hi. We are live to do our normal Q&A. You saw the thumbnail. We're going to talk about the NAMM show. And my favorite things, and the dumbest things, and the coolest things, and
all the things in between.
And all the things. Yeah. So, yeah, let's do it. First things first, we should go ahead. I'm going to pour myself a drink because this is some Macallan 12 that Doc Siltonen, who I don't know if he's in the comments tonight or not.
Not yet.
But this is the first time I've actually gotten to thank him for when he came to one of the pickup winding classes / guitar building classes at Texas Toast. He brought me this bottle. So I want to thank him for that. I did crack it like a couple weeks ago and had one. But tonight I'm going to have it as well. Also, we are currently in Nashville, Tennessee. We drove in 2 days from Denver, Colorado to Nashville, Tennessee. Actually, from Colorado Springs, Colorado, up to Denver, across to Nashville, Tennessee. Insane.
Not recommended.
Not recommended. But we were on a time frame. We had some meetings today that we had to have for business building things that I can't tell you about, but are pretty cool. Well, I will tell you, one of them is lasers. So that's pretty sweet. We're trying to bring some of the manufacturing of some of our parts that we use in our pickups a little closer to home and not really have to farm that out so much. So I'm working on some lasers and I'm really excited about that.
All right, before you get started, I want to acknowledge a couple of things that have popped up.
Okay.
So, first off, we have Doug Santinello saying hello to everyone tonight. 10 months membership.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool. And then we have Van Shank Guitars celebrating 19 months of membership.
Whoa.
So
we have a super chat.
Is really cool. We appreciate you being here. So super chat from Alan A. Thank you for the super chat. He said sip. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely got a sipper tonight. So
cool.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah. So this has been one of the most insane months that we have ever had in Dylan Talks Tone history, I think. Going out to Texas Toast, would you say we'll be in the van for 44 days or something by the time?
40.
Is it 40 days?
Mm-hmm. 40 days and 40 nights.
In the module. We weren't even going to name it, but Matt did.
Matt named it.
It makes sense. Which has been great. The van's been awesome. I'm really glad. We're in this RV park right now with all these huge motorhomes, and we're really glad we don't have a huge motorhome. We're really glad we have this. It's worked out really well. Excuse me. So, I'm at the point now where I will have a stupid cough for probably 2 months, 6 months, a long time. It just happens. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we got going. We do have some questions that came in from Patreon over the week.
Good
so we will get to those in just a minute. What was your favorite part of the NAMM show?
Favorite overall part? Wasn't prepared for that. I kind of like that it wasn't huge. It made it odd, but multiple floors at the LA show
gets exhausting.
Is tough.
Yeah.
So I actually liked that it was smaller. I think there were a lot of people there, but I don't know. Smaller makes you pass more people, which means more conversations happen, and you also get like a second look at something. There's something. It's like if you drive somewhere, like you can drive through the mountains this way, but when you drive back the other way, you see something totally different.
Yeah.
So, and then also seeing what people are interested in, right? So I don't know. It just makes you pause more. If there's a group of people interested in something, then you're curious. Like,
Yeah.
oh well, I didn't look here before. What are they looking at? So just that smaller. I mean, bigger than Nashville was because that was a joke, but
Yeah.
but small enough to feel attainable and walkable and
You have to have real conversations.
able to go back and forth if you wanted to
Mm-hmm.
and really connect with people. So if I had to say an overall thing, that would be my favorite.
It was different because Fender, PRS, and Gibson were not there. So the show had a little bit different vibe to it. There was also not a lot of, well, there were some small guitar builders, but there were a lot of guitar builders that we have seen before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Viper and Vola, and
which is so cool though. I mean, it is nice to see people again, like because then you know they're succeeding.
Yeah. Oh, we got another one of those. Yeah.
Super chat from Dave the Pious. I don't know. Yeah, Pious.
Sounds like.
Thank you for the super chat. Sounds like Sweetwater's Gear Fest will be bigger. I thought it was online.
So that's the thing. The last couple of years it has been online because we were going to go.
Isn't it this year too?
I believe so.
Okay, because I looked it up. I thought.
Because we were like, oh, we should go to that.
Yeah, but and then it was online.
And then it was online.
Yeah.
So, but if they do change that, Dave, we will go to it because I'm a Sweetwater.
But maybe
affiliate.
He's just saying bigger, like more vendors. It's totally possible because, especially in an online setting, I think people are looking for that. Most of the conferences that I attend professionally are all virtual now.
Oh, in your job, yeah.
You know, it is happening.
Yeah. I will say, I really liked, there's a few things that were interesting. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing that was kind of a sea change from before. There were a lot of brands that were basically, I felt like there was 90 Harley Benton's there. Where it was a Chinese knockoff brand owned by a company in the United States importing Chinese guitars, basically. There was a lot of that. A lot of that. It's like you walked around and there was like 6-7 booths in a row and you could almost tell that all the stuff was coming from the same place. And this one was just a different color and that one was
Super chat from Thomas Torville. Thank you for the super chat. He says, have a safe trip home.
Thanks, Thomas.
That's very nice.
Great to see you up and around in the videos and stuff. I know his health was a little sketchy for a while, so we hadn't seen him for a while, so I appreciate that.
Glad to have you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was an interesting thing. That vintage guitars, which they look amazing on the internet, and they're just meh in person. There was a whole bunch of different stuff. There's a bunch of guitar companies that are having stuff made in Japan, which are very nice. So...
Do you think so are they newer companies?
Yeah.
Okay, so is this in the same, so just hearing you explain that, because I don't think I realized or thought about where these things were coming from when we looked at them. Do you think that's in the same vein of like everybody that's trying to get in on like drop shipping and various things, like they just want a way to, like they're not manufacturing, right, but they just want to be a reseller of some kind of brand?
Yes, because it's scalable.
Okay.
Because, so an example of a company that does this properly is Reverend. Because Reverend, they're made in Korea.
Okay.
All of them. And they're really good. and they manage the production over there, and they send guitars back. And of course, Zach is a friend of mine. He's like the project manager that runs Reverend in the United States. And we were just talking about this the other day. He was saying that they personally take every guitar out, inspect them all, do setup. He said they spend a half hour to 45 minutes on every Reverend guitar that comes in the door. Mm. And they send a lot back, and they take photos and say, you can't do this anymore. Hey, factory, you're screwed. Like PRS.
They have a quality.
PRS does kind of the same thing. But Reverend is, I think, a great example because they have a quality product, but they've built the business this way over time. What I think a lot of these other ones are, and I'm skeptical of them, and I may be wrong, and so I don't want to talk overly negatively about them because they might be trying to do what Reverend is doing, but they're just in the infancy of it, so maybe they're just not as good at it yet. But I just feel like it's like me and you could go to any one of those companies in the basement, only they weren't in the basement, but they were over on one corner this year. We know where they all were because they even had continents. There was signs like...
Yeah, that was really odd, I thought.
Yeah, they had Indonesia, China, Japan, Germany. Like they had all of those. Yeah. So we could walk over there and talk to one of those dudes and be like, hey, how much will it cost to set up and design a guitar? And we could start importing it, and me and you could make Dylan guitars in China, and we could get them over here, and then I could put my pickups in them, and they would be... We could do that. It would not be that big a deal. It's like a click and point kind of order system.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I just think of like boutique people went through that too, and just somebody is going to emerge. They're going to find their audience, and they will emerge. I mean, you got to try something. Try it once. I don't know.
So I just thought that was an interesting thing that happened. There was some...
Or was it more prominent because a lot of people didn't come?
It could be.
Maybe it was always there.
It was a higher percentage of all of the booths because some of the other companies
they weren't
didn't
there.
come. That could be too. The other thing, my favorite thing in the whole place was Aristides Guitars because I finally got to put my hands on one. Okay. And they knew who I was already, which I did not know. He said, like, yeah, I watch all your stuff, which I was like, that was pretty cool. They're from Denmark. There's no wood in the guitars. So I'm hoping to get them on the podcast. I'm going to buy one. I'm telling you right now, that's pretty much next on my list. He told me it's going to take like 8 or 9 months to get it because they're back ordered, but I'm buying an Aristides guitar. I am buying one. I want one. They are so cool. And was it Cream Guitars out of Mexico?
That was my favorite.
Super startup company. Little rough around the edges still. You could tell they were still in super prototypey phase, but they were very, very cool. And the guys, the energy, the booth presentation, and the guitars themselves.
They had the best booth. That's what caught my attention initially. They had the best booth. All around, like, had the best booth. For, like, a place to take pictures, a place to take selfies. They were very attentive to their booth. It didn't matter who you were. If you walked up, they wanted to put a guitar in your hands. They wanted you to sit in the little place and get your picture taken. Like, they really saw, I think, a whole picture of how to make that show successful for them. And I really think, I mean, I watched them many times just in action. And
I'm getting one of those
too. I really liked what they were doing.
I'm getting one of those too. I want one of those too. Yeah. Even just to support them because it was such a neat thing. So, yeah. So overall, I think it was great. It was different. I know there's a lot of people that are like, NAMM is stupid and it's dying and blah, blah, but maybe it's because I didn't go there with any expectations. For the first time ever, I didn't have a bunch of meetings lined up. I didn't have a bunch of people that I had to meet. We walked in and didn't know what we were doing at all. You know, I think there was a couple people that I wanted to say hi to while I was there, but no, you know, when we went last year to Nashville, we were like literally in meetings the entire time. It was like this person to this person to this person to this person about work stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it was just walk around, see what you want to see. I didn't take a whole lot of video. We just kind of had fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I think that the scene is changing. It's morphing, but it's not dying. I think it's changing. And there's a big difference there. So it was really fun. And Brianna told me, my daughter told me today, that I have a new amp waiting for me when I get home.
Mm.
So I'm not going to say what it is now, but I ordered a new amp earlier this week. My Machine Gun Kelly signature guitar is actually there, sitting at home waiting for me when I get home. So that's really exciting. That's a guitar that I've been waiting for over a year, I think. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's really cool.
Can we just talk about some of these comments to
Sure,
make it a little more conversational as we're talking about this? So Fat Philosopher said, Dylan, are you getting a raw finish RSDDs or a painted one? There is a rumor that the raw is better. Tone wood, LOL.
We discussed it, and I think it's going to depend on what sort of situation comes available to me. Mm-hmm. So, because the wait time is really long. So he was like, these ones, the wait time's not as long. The wait time is longer for these. But we might have some demos of these in stock that I might be able to sell you. Like, I'm buying it. They're not giving me one. You know, it's not, I'm not getting a free one. So, but I think depending on my willingness and patience, depends on how fancy of a guitar I get, basically. Because if I'm willing to wait for something really cool, then that could happen. I don't know yet. When we get back home and we get email kind of going, we've been talking on Instagram a little bit, but we'll see. I'm really excited about it.
So, Jeffrey Egan said, did we drive through a lot of storms?
Oh my God.
Kansas hates us. I'm just going to say that.
I hate Kansas. I don't
us.
ever want to go to Kansas again. I will literally drive around Kansas.
The craziest weather I've ever seen was in Kansas. And this time, if we didn't get blown off the road, it was trying to kill us with hail.
Yep.
Accumulated hail. It was...
Yeah, it was bad.
Bad.
I hate Kansas.
So it was
I don't
crazy.
ever want to go back there.
And then Jeffrey also asked, if so many different brands have guitars made overseas, probably in the same factory, what then makes each brand different? What was that?
Somebody opened their door and there was a mirror and it shined in the sun. You can spec anything any way you want. That's the thing. It's a blank canvas. However, there is kind of a design language with each plant. And I was talking to someone, I don't really want to say who right now because...
It was super chat from Paul McNary.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. He just sent a smiley face. We got to spend some time with Paul at Texas Toast Guitars. It was really nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you for the super chat.
Each of the factories has a little bit of a design language. And you can kind of tell after a while, you know, what they look like and kind of the feel behind them. You can also tell when a guitar is a quality guitar built for the sake of being built versus a quality guitar versus a guitar that's built to a price. Those vintage guitars are sort of like Harley Benton. They're built to a price. To be in a certain price bracket on purpose. Like, we want this guitar to be under X amount of dollars. There are other guitars, like in the Japanese stuff, where it's like the sky's the limit. You can make it crazy and cool as you want, and if it ends up being a $2,000 Japanese guitar, then it's a $2,000 Japanese guitar. So it's the goal of the company also. So I think the goal of whoever's running it comes through in the guitars, and that is also important.
Which means it could be a big difference.
Yeah.
And related to that, Kenneth Crickmore said, the question is whether or not all of those different imports are any good, and just how good are they really?
So that's the thing. Some of them are really good. You know, I was doing a bunch of research because I'm about to do a Schecter video about a Schecter. Because this is my second Schecter. And I think this guitar is going to be very good. Everything I've heard about this Machine Gun Kelly guitar is that it's very good. And it's a very high quality instrument. Well, they're made overseas. But how they've been managing it and the goal of the company and where they want to be in the market is very intentional. And it's not just, we're going to sell 1 billion guitars at $300 a piece. You know what I mean? There's a different goal to what they're doing. And they're also trying to innovate within those different price brackets. So that's the other thing. Is it just an innovation? Is it an innovation thing? Or is it just a telecopy for $400? You know what I mean? So you can feel, it's interesting when you're all in the same room with them. You can feel the principal differences between like the goals of each of the company and each of the price brackets. And it was very cool to see. I paid a lot of attention to that because, you know, we sell a premium product, and people have asked me many times, are you going to make a cheap one? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no. And I'm still not. We aren't going to. But are we going to make it more available to more people? I would like to. But I also don't want to make import stuff. We don't want to build down to a price. So being around all this stuff last weekend for me right now, where our company is in our growth phase, was very important for me. Like, I want to make sure that we don't do the vintage guitar Harley Benton kind of knockoff thing for $400 just to sell a bunch of them.
So can we flip it totally over, because something about what you just said made me remember. So this was, in my opinion, the best showcase selection I've seen before, variety wise.
Oh yeah,
the boutique section.
Oh, the boutique showcase. Yeah.
So it was a very wide variety. There was a lot of artistry in there and a lot of different things you haven't seen.
It was not just a bunch of relic Kellys. Yes.
I also feel like, I don't know if it was the size of the show or a different expectation, we've also walked through that section of NAMM many times, and you never get to talk to anybody. And I felt like all of the artists were right there with their guitars where you could talk to them, which was really nice.
Yep. So what she's talking about is there's a boutique showcase at NAMM, and all it really is all the boutique builders. Doug Cower was there, and he had 4 guitars, and they were all themed, and he had this crazy jacket that was themed to it. It was really cool. He had 4 guitars on stands on a table. It was kind of a table show, but it was well lit and well presented, so it wasn't like a table show. It was done like it should have been done. But like what she's saying, a lot of times you just walk through there and you take a business card, but the guitar's just there by itself. But yeah, most of everybody was there with them. And you got to speak to... I actually got a couple people for the podcast because they were really cool guys who had really neat visions for very cool stuff. I don't know if they're ever going to... That one guy said he only built 12 guitars a year. But he was really cool and he was really interesting to talk to, and his guitars were very good. So that was really fun too.
Yeah, just to share that there was the other side of it there too. So Van Shank Guitars, a couple questions. Did you stop at the Dingwall booth? I don't know what that is. Okay. And then, is anyone feeding the cat while you're away?
We do not have a cat.
I'm assuming that was for us, but yeah, we don't have a cat.
We don't have a cat.
There was nothing to feed while we were away.
Oh, we used to have cats.
Many years ago.
Many years ago, but we have not had cats for quite a while.
Yeah. And then just a couple more, and then we can move on, or whatever. Kenneth Crickmore. Hey, Dylan, have you had your hands on a Relish Mary 1 yet? And if so, what did you think of it?
Is the Relish Mary 1 the cheaper one? I've pretty much played all of the Relishes. Hang on. Let me just see. I almost bought one. Remember when I was at Sweetwater and I was like, I think I'm going to buy one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up not buying one. Nope. That's the Trinity is the cheaper one. The Relish Mary one is the more expensive one. I believe that it is a fantastic instrument. I think they are amazing. One of my buddies used to do the artist relations for them, and he got to, at one NAMM show, I got to hang out with him for quite a bit and learn a lot about those guitars, and they're really good. So yes, if you can get one, I recommend that you add one to your collection. They are very, very cool. We should go through the Patreon questions. We have a few.
You don't want to finish the conversation, or are you going to come back to NAMM?
Oh, we can come back to it.
Come back to NAMM?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't want to
put
these folks off because they,
I
don't think it matters where you start.
Yeah, it does, because not all of these are. That was a super chat, right?
Oh, yep.
Is that? I don't know.
The first one was a super chat. Here, we'll go like this. Okay, everything's legit now.
Okay. So, Matt says, not really a question, more of a moment I wasn't ready for. I bit the bullet and bought my first over $1,000 Epiphone today. Matt Heafy Origins Les Paul Custom. Granted, it includes locking tuners, Fishman pickups, and a hard shell case, but that stung a little. I miss the days of $699 Epiphone Customs.
Yeah, so you can get an $899 Epiphone now. But let's face it, and people disagree with me and argue with me in the comments all day long, but I don't really care. A good guitar is $2,000 now. Like a good American guitar, $2,000. It's just the way it is. It's just what they cost now. And so a really good Epiphone, you're right. That is a fantastic instrument. We just featured that yesterday in the
I love that he says he wasn't ready for it, but he totally did it. Which is just doing the thing, right?
Right.
Like you wanted it.
Yeah, if you want it, get it.
I like that.
And if you can do it and you want it, get it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the price. Yeah. I think you're going to love that guitar.
It did sting a little. That's okay.
Yeah. I think it's all in what you put, the value that you put in it, which means that's the amount of that you're going to play it.
Yeah.
So play it more, enjoy it more, and it'll be worth more to you, and it won't matter.
I like that.
Really.
Hope you love it. That's
what a great guitar, too. Fishman pickups are $250 a set, man.
Right.
And they're good.
Shane. Hello, the king and queen of tone. I am not sure who he's talking to, but Dylan, you mentioned that the Cort 15 3/4-inch radius fretboard was weird, but isn't that the same as the 400 millimeter radius of the Ibanez Wizard 2 necks found on the Sabre S series? Any thoughts on Wizard necks? I'm personally a fan of them.
Okay, so I just was uninformed about that, because America, we do inches for radius, but 25.75 or 15 3/4, I apologize, inch radius, because I was like, why is 15 3/4 inch radius? That's dumb. It's like a weird in between thing that doesn't matter, but it's 400 millimeters, so it's just a metric. Yeah. So yes, you're right, and they are the same. And I was uninformed that there are a few brands that use the metric system for their radiuses, because there aren't actually that many that do that. So yeah, very cool.
Nick. Hi, Dylan. I ordered a set of DAFs after your suggestion on your live stream back on the 12th of May. I added some notes in the order as to the differences between Alnico 3 or 5s and ultimately said that I'm happy to have whatever you suggest. but can you explain what should be expected when deciding between Alnico 3 and 5?
They compress differently. 5 is going to be a little more defined as the gain goes up. In my opinion, I think 3s are a little squishy. So I don't really like them that much. I think 5s are tighter, which I really like.
Are these on the list of words? Squishy and tighter?
We should put those on the list of words, yeah. Also, for anybody that's ordered anything, I was just looking today. We have 25 orders.
Oh, wow.
Right now, yeah. And those will be getting handled over the next 2 weeks. We are not going to do this again this way. We were able to kind of keep up with everything, but not to my liking. So we are going to get caught up over the next couple of weeks, and then we are not going to move out for a month again. We're going to do maybe a week at a time, but we're not going to do a month. It's too long, and it makes it to where people have to wait too long for their stuff. So I already refunded a couple of people because I just felt bad. You know, pick guards, really. It was pick guard stuff. And I was like, you know what? If they reorder again, I will appreciate it, but I just, So if you're waiting on pickups, you'll get them in the next probably 3 weeks. I'm going to make them in the next 2, and you'll probably get them in the next 3.
Yeah, so we changed the expectation on the website.
Yeah.
In anticipation of this, but I think
it was even busier than I thought.
Busier than we thought.
Yeah.
We worked a month straight, so we worked.
I took 2 days off in a whole month,
and worked every weekend except one weekend. So that was the 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a lot, and it was a lot more. We just thought, oh, we'll be there, and we'll just go, and we did, and we paid for it, and got behind.
Yeah. So we won't do that.
Why are you driving?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Read the question then.
I will. Vincent. Hi, Dylan. What really makes the telebridge pickup tone? I know most of the time people point to the base plate, but tele pickups without the plate installed in the tele, traditional or direct mount, still sound like teles. Part of that has to do with the placement in relation to the bridge and the brake angle of the bridge. If you change the bridge on a tele, it'll make almost as much difference as the pickup will. But I would say it's probably 60, 40, 70, 30 pickup with the base plate on the bottom and the bridge. But those two things together. And of course the scale length, but tele specific, those two things together, yeah.
Cool. What else do you want to talk about? Or you want to take some more questions?
Yeah, let's take some more questions.
Fat Philosopher said, how was the Vola booth?
So the Vola booth he's the one that gave me the most education on where guitars are made. I was walking around the show, and I walked up to him, and he knew exactly who I was, and he's like, I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. And I was like, I've been wanting to meet you for a long time because you keep being in our news every Wednesday, and you're coming out with really cool stuff. And I got to play all those guitars, and those guitars are made in Japan, and they are really good. So, Fat Philosopher, I know what kind of guitars you like, because you're kind of a shred dude. I would not discourage you from buying a Vola guitar. They are very cool. Very cool. And the dude that owns it, so this is one where he told me some stuff and gave me a lot of background on a lot of the other companies, which I won't get into here, but and gave me some broader picture of all of this, which really educated me on, where guitars come from, really. But he lives in Texas. And again, he and his brothers own another guitar company, and they make guitars. They have a custom shop they build in house, and then some of the stuff comes over from Japan. A lot of stuff comes over from Japan. And man, is it good stuff. And they are very, very attentive. They are guitar builders who have some stuff built in Japan, a lot of stuff built in Japan. So they have a really different eye and perspective on what should be done and how it should be done. They are not people who are just, hey man, we should come out with a guitar brand. Let's call a company in China and have them brought over here. They're not that people. They are guitar builders who designed guitars, had them built in Japan at a very reputable and long-serving guitar company builder in Japan. Very well. They make everything for Fender. They are very good.
I was thinking of another conversation. I wasn't there for the conversation. I was off to the side. But what did you think now that you spent time with and played the backpack guitar thing?
Fantastic. I can't wait to get one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I know that's one that I don't know what caught your attention this time, but we've walked by them they've been around.
Yeah, and I've been like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and many times.
Somebody got your attention this time, but while you were
I'll tell you what it was.
There.
He had one in his hand, and he was looking for people's eyes.
Oh yeah, they were putting them in people's hands.
He was looking for people. You'd walk by, and the guy, if you made eye contact with him, he would be like, "Here, you should try this," and put it, and give you a pair of Boss Wazacraft headphones, sit you down, give you the full tour. They were great.
So you know
in their booth.
The woman that was in that booth is the engineer.
Yeah, and you know who's on their board? Grover Jackson and Joe Glazer, and he was actually in the booth when we were there.
Anyway, she walked up and just started talking to me to make sure I was taken care of. Realized you were talking to the guy, so she talked to me about how she got in that position and what she did. Like, she was just there to answer the hard questions, basically. Those
guitars are cool.
Yeah.
They look super gimmicky. We put them in our news this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're super gimmicky looking, but it's kind of like the same thing with the Somnium.
The name of the company. Do you remember?
Ciaria or something.
Oh, is that okay? Yeah.
The Somnium. I've got it right here. That concept can appear very gimmicky until somebody like Somnium does it really properly, and it's like all of a sudden, oh wow, this is a really cool guitar. That fold in half backpack guitar is that now, and it's $1,800. I think it's really cool. Seymour Duncan pickups, 24/7 5 scale. It feels good. I mean, I was telling him, I was like, I know exactly in my van where I would keep one of those so that I could have an electric guitar with me all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it could go there's a little spot right there where it would fit in the backpack with my laptop. You know, super cool.
So Kenneth Crickmore said, so are you going to have the body and neck finished and ready for hardware to install yours in-house when you get them? I think that was a misunderstanding. We weren't saying...
We are not doing that.
We weren't. That was just an example.
So let's get this really clear right now. We are not building guitars. What we are doing is we are putting on a workshop at Texas Toast Guitars in September, where you will come and build my guitar that I designed a few years ago. You will build it, though. And then you will wind the pickups that you put in it, and then you will have a complete, very good, boutique quality instrument by the end of the week for $2,500. So it will be very cool.
To that, Doug Santanello said, I want to build one of your Batfish guitars with the Evertune bridge system in it. What do you think?
No. We are not doing that. There's only two bridge options. The hip shot, hardtail, if you put two P90s in it, or a Telly style hip shot bridge if you do the Telly bridge pickup and a P90 neck pickup. That's the only option.
Yeah, because we're going to squeeze it into a tighter time frame so there's less customability.
Yeah, you get to pick your color. There's a couple neck options I think you might be able to pick. The bridge and bridge pickup option you'll be able to pick.
The color.
Yeah.
I think you said that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How shiny it is.
Yes.
That kind of stuff. You'll be able to pick a few things, but most of it's going to be pretty set in stone so that we make sure. See, here's the thing. One of the things, and I don't want to speak for Matt because this part is more Matt's thing, but I know that one of the goals that Matt had was when he had all the free-for-all, you could build whatever you want classes. Sometimes everybody would get a good guitar in the end. But there was always this feeling of like, if it was a little more standardized, you would ensure that not only would everybody get a good guitar, but they would get a really good guitar. Like, you know, like, this is an interesting thing. This doesn't have to do with NAMM or anything. This has to do with something I learned when I was at Texas Toast. I've been around guitar building for many, many years. But being around for a few of those classes, and then being around for, a few weeks where it was just the guys working in the shop building guitars. One of the things I realized is that, not that I realized that people don't realize just how hard it is to make a guitar. So when somebody says, oh, I'm going to Texas Toast and I'm going to build a guitar. So I'm going to build this really cool thing and this Jazzmaster with all these buttons and all this stuff. No, what you really should do is build a Tele. Because it's way harder than you think. There's a lot more work that goes into it. And you will get a better, simple guitar than a really good, complicated guitar. And you will enjoy yourself more if you keep it simple. And so when we designed this thing, well, when I wasn't going to build in my original shape. It was kind of Matt's idea. He's like, well, do you want to build your design? And I'm like, yeah, I do. That'd be awesome because I'd like people to have them because they're very good. The idea was, so now it's something that's more exciting than a Tele, but it still falls into a design language that you will be able to pull off in a week, and it will be very, 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 very good. And because I think... I know to a man, we taught 17 people how to wind pickups. There was not one person who said, oh, this is way easier than I thought. Not one. And actually, Doug is one of the people that will tell you, Doug will get in the comments right now and tell you that he told me, I will never complain about how much pickups cost again, ever. Because it is difficult. And I think people... Super chat.
Super chat from Van Shank Guitars. Thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm having an Appleton Estates signature rum on ice. What's in your glass?
It is a Macallan 12 that Don Siltonen got me when he was in the States earlier this month, in May.
Yeah, Doug said the problem is time. Right. The time is the problem. And what he was saying, like, it is, people are also, like, making friends and building lifelong relationships. So, like, not being super stressed and being able to enjoy that time is probably really important, too.
Yeah, I think it was a big thing for me. I mean, I know, because I've been doing it a long time. But to watch other people who aren't, a lot of the folks that came didn't really even know how to play guitar. There was one guy that I thought was really cool, Tim, did not know how to play guitar at all, but he wanted to take lessons. So he wanted to build a guitar that he was about to take lessons on, but didn't know how to play. But he will forever have an appreciation. He will never get, I know Tim well enough. I don't know him super well, but I hung out with him for a week and a weekend. And I know him well enough to know that he will never get in the comments on a YouTube video or in Facebook and be like, that guitar is too expensive. $500, $800 is too expensive for that guitar. Blah, blah, blah. It's not worth that. He will never say that. And he doesn't even play guitar yet. But he will never say that because he has a real appreciation for what goes into him. I don't know. I just think everybody should. I said it before I got there that I was going to sell Matt's classes super hard. And that was before I ever had anything to do with it. Now I really want to because I want you to come and do it. But just for the simple fact that it will help you reevaluate how you look at a guitar forever. You have to go and do it. It's so, just the principle of how guitars are made, you have to go and try it. I know Doug and Dave, I don't think Dave's here tonight.
I don't think so.
There's a few folks that have been to this class. I know they'll get in the comments and they'll say 100% I agree. Because it completely changes.
Yeah.
They will not whine in any comments in any video on any Facebook group ever again about any kind of like price or value or any of that kind of stuff, because it just gives you a better appreciation for your hobby and really sucks you into the hobby in a different way. Even if you never build another guitar again and all you do is go buy guitars off the shelf, you'll just have a different appreciation for it. It's so neat.
So then just to answer the question, because I feel like there's a question in there. So you answer the question about could he do the Evertune, but he said he thought Evertune fit into the same route as a Strat trim.
It does not. It is a very complicated, it's a very complicated setup, actually. I don't know enough about it. I'm going to build one for myself, or maybe buy a guitar and put one in it. I'm trying to get in touch with Evertune, but I'm actually trying to, I told Steve at Maximum Guitar Works that he needs to come up with a template for Evertune, because I know that people would, because I know people like Doug that want it, but it's a very complicated thing. Because I've looked at the templates that come with it when you buy it, and there's like 3 or 4 different routes. They're different levels. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. Yeah.
And Doug's agreeing with you about the class. He said, yeah, it's very tedious. Not just the winding, but the wire is easier to break than a human hair.
Yeah.
Dave the Pious said, everything seems like a good idea until you have to do it.
Is that him?
Who's Dave?
Wait, Dave. Are you Dave? Are you the Dave that said that and Matt wrote that on the board? Please let me know.
Oh.
That might be Dave.
He did say
from Wisconsin,
earlier.
From Waukesha, Wisconsin.
So Dave said that same guy, so it must be the same guy, because he said, where did it go? Something about Dylan just wired something. Dylan wired my telly 3 weeks ago.
It's Dave W.
It's Dave.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we know
Dave.
who you are.
I know for a fact that Matt put your saying.
Yes, it's on the whiteboard.
Everything sounds like a good idea until you actually have to do it.
Yep.
He's putting that in the manual for the class, because so many people come and they're like, oh, I want to do this amazing thing. No, you really should just build a telly. Like, so that you can get the full appreciation of it.
I really liked the guitar he built.
Oh, his guitar was awesome. But yeah, I did have to help him with some wiring because he wanted something crazy, and it took some doing. But it was cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Some other questions?
Yeah. Mark EFX. Mark FX. I don't know. He said, it's me. Dave said, it's me.
Awesome.
Did you check out the 2 Notes Revolt?
I did. I'm hoping to get one to review, so I did not waste too much time with it.
That philosopher said, with a weak Japanese yen, it makes sense now to buy in a country like Vola.
Mm-hmm. We got about 10 minutes left, so if you have questions, make sure you get them in there.
Mark Brooks. Good morning from Australia. Do you know of a German company made in South Korea called Zerberus? I have a Hydra 2, top quality. Love your show.
I have heard of them, have not experienced one myself.
Dan Andrades. Dylan, did you see the Gibson promo for Lizzie Hale's Explorer Bird? What do you think of it?
My friend Dylan, who works at the Gibson store, bought one, and we were talking about it on Instagram the other day. I want that guitar.
Well, he probably wants you to buy that guitar.
You know what? Can we go there tomorrow before we leave?
Sure.
We're going to Gibson Garage tomorrow.
James, Dylan, do you still rebuild the fake wide range pickups?
So, we do. However, we do that in, we're going to do that in a production window. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I think what's going to happen is we're going to do those for the month of August. So I will give you more details about that. We will put it back on the website. But what will happen is you will have to send it in by a certain time, and then we will do it in the month of August. And I will do it a couple times a year.
Cool. Kenneth Crickmore, with the magnets in pickups, is the number low for lower field gauge strength and up as field strength increases?
Yes.
I almost messed that whole question up. I don't know if Steve O'Brien's question is for the audience or for us. He said, what's your opinions on Silverface 70s fenders being a bargain compared to the modern fenders being a ripoff? Love my 78 UL Pro Reverb. Awesome for pedals.
I don't understand your the economics of your question, because Silverfaces from the 70s are wicked expensive right now. They're going up by the minute. However, I do understand what you're saying, because a twin is almost $2,000 now. Let's face it, guys and gals. Tubes are expensive now. Russian birch plywood is through the roof. And those are the two most expensive parts of a guitar amp, besides the transformers. Tube amps are going to be expensive. I just spent $1,300 on one the other day, and it's like the cheapest one you can buy. So, suck it up. That's how much they cost. I hate to say it like that, but it's really true. Like, things aren't ripoffs. It's just, I spent $6.71 for gas in California. I mean, come on, man. Like, and do not get into politics in the comments. I'm just saying everything is expensive. You know, we're really lucky we haven't raised our prices in 3 years. And I'm really trying not to.
We have a slight delay. There we go. We got a super chat from Vinny's World. Thank you for the super chat. He said, got here a bit late. Here's to non-coffee drinks.
If you want to buy me a coffee, there's a link to buy me a coffee in the description of the video.
But we like non-coffee.
But we like non-coffee as well. I do miss my espresso machine. Like, I cannot wait till I get home. Yeah.
All the drinks.
Yep.
Sweet. We'll give it a couple more minutes. If you have any questions, squeeze them in. We are going to try to keep it to an hour in honor of the, what are they calling it?
Primetime guitar.
Prime time. So,
yeah.
Because they're limiting to an hour, so it's only right that we do the same.
Yes. And for expansion in the future, if we bring somebody else on after us, I want to give them that courtesy, because I really like this idea.
Yeah.
Of networking. We already have viewers that I know came over from other channels.
So if you're not familiar with it, so Eastern time, we start at 8 o'clock Eastern time, so 6 o'clock Eastern time is Flipside Music, and they're doing demos, right?
Yeah, pedal demos and all kinds of stuff that we don't normally do.
Talking about stuff in the store, stuff they have their hands on. And then at 7 o'clock Eastern time is Texas Toast Guitars, and then we are on at 8 here at Dylan Talks Tone. This is every Thursday. All right.
Al wants to know if we make Peter Green pickups. Yes and no. I will give you the wiring die. So we do it a little different, but we do. You can Peter Green our pickups. If you want the actual magnet flipped, I will also do that for you. just when you order it, put it in the notes, and I'll do it. It's easy.
There you go. The answer is yes.
Yeah. But you can do it with the wires too. And I can tell you how to do that. Yeah, awesome. I also...
Mr. Goat said, please move to CST. I can't math.
That's fine.
And why?
So one of the other things that people have been bugging me about, because everybody knows, if you follow this channel for quite a while, that I'm a knife junkie and I have a bunch of cool knives. This trip was very knife expensive. Very knife expensive. Because I got one for sure dream knife that I've always wanted. I got a Microtech out the front, which is really cool, but it's not cheap. But one of the things I did finally get to do was go to Spyderco. We went to the actual Spyderco factory in Colorado the other day before we left. So that's really cool. So I bought 3. I got her 1 and I got 2 for me. So yeah, so that was really cool. And
you got something else this trip. What else did you get the same day you got the...
Yeah, so I bought 2 knives the last time too. I bought the Microtech out the front.
Yep.
And I got that Benchmade original. Mm-hmm. What is that thing? Not the mini barrage, not the barrage.
I thought it was a number.
They all have numbers, but there's a name to it. It's the guy that designed it. Anyway, they did like a throwback to the original color scheme and stuff, and I got one of those, so that was pretty cool.
I thought it was an original because the brackets were different.
Yeah. No, it is. Yes, you're right.
Did they make it special or it's
No, they made it special again. Oh. It is not old. It's a reissue, basically. So, yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Jason Albert said, I should try to wind pickups. I used to wind transformers. Some of that wire was really tiny. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You should try it.
And Jason, you're in...
He said we drove right by him. We were in his neck of the woods.
I know.
We're going to get back. We know. You're on our list, but we want to spend time there to do some of that exploring we've talked about before.
And I do appreciate everybody that reached out to us over the last month and wanted to meet up. We did get to with a few people. But this was much more intense than I anticipated it being.
Dan Andrade said, did Matt give you a Gerber?
He did.
Yeah. Did you collect 5 knives on this trip?
Yeah. Plus I bought Matt one, so that would be 6.
Oh, yeah. And I got one, so that's 7.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's a lot of knives.
Yeah, that's a lot of knives.
And then Charles Wallace says, Dylan Talks Home, best live stream on YouTube. Thanks. I'm glad you're here. And then, thanks, Gary. Vinny's World. Speaking of reverse wound polarity P90 sounds awesome.
Awesome, man.
R's and W's shouldn't go together. Yes.
Yeah. For sure.
I have a funny story for that at another time.
Okay. No, that's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for bearing with us as we were MIA for a couple of weeks, but we're back.
That's the first week I've taken off in years, so it was great.
We missed 2 live streams, right?
No.
Or just 1?
No. Last week we took the whole week.
That was the
off.
only one. Oh.
I didn't do news.
I got a break from live streams for a month because...
Oh, you did, because me and Matt were doing them together, yeah.
So I got a nice little break. So.
Man, I really enjoyed spending...
What was that noise?
That was my foot.
Oh.
Real quality time with Matt. I really... And Chris,
they had
both.
coffee talk every day.
Yeah.
At like 6 a.m.
We slept in his front yard, and then I went in there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we just brainstormed and talked and business, and just... I got to be really good friends with him, and I really, he's a really good guy, and I really am so glad that I know Texas Toast Guitars, Matt and Chris.
Cool.
And Brandon.
Yes.
And Joy.
All right, last question. It's almost time. Shay Van B231 said, have you ever checked out a Piranha knife? I really like mine.
Piranha. I will check it out.
Cool. Kenneth collects coffee cups and hats. Dylan collects hats and knives and watches and
everything.
T-shirts and shoes.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
Anyway,
awesome.
Cowboy
I'm
boots.
glad I got to meet you, Gary. I'm glad to be back too. He said he missed seeing me. But we're going to wrap it up because we said we'd stick to an hour.
Yeah, man.
See y'all later.